A very good morning, student. Welcome back. This is the second video, for the introductory classes onto the osteology. I am preparing you just how you will ultimately go to your demonstration classes on the bones, and there you should not face any problem in understanding a bone. Now in this short video I am going to tell you about the general features of a living long bone. Say for example, this is a long bone, and this is the tibia, the bone of the leg, but this is not a living bone, because it is a dead bone, dried bone taken out from the cadaver. We will be talking about the bone which is present inside a living person and living long bone. A long bone has the two ends. For example, this is also having the two ends, upper end and the lower end. So there are two ends, and these two ends of a long bone, they are broad. Here lower and upper. I have just drawn this diagram. And you can see this upper end here. This is called as upper end. Now, right now we don't bother about the which is upper end and how to identify the upper and lower end, but your teacher will tell you which is upper end and which is the lower end. So here you are seeing this is the upper end, and naturally this will be the lower end of the long bone. So this is the lower end of the long bone. So the ends are knobby, and why they are broad and knobby? Because they have to come in contact with the other bones. For example, this is the upper end of the tibia. It will come in contact with the other bone, that is the femur. The lower end of the femur will articulate here. Articulation means it will form a joint. So the lower end of the femur and upper end of the tibia forms a joint, what is called as the knee joint. Similarly, the lower end of the tibia will form a joint with the talus, which is a bone of the ankle region, or tarsal bone to form the ankle joint. So the reason why the ends are larger, massive or bony is that they have to form the joint. Then another thing is that in between the two upper limb ends of the bones, there is a narrow shaft. Between these two ends, upper and lower end, this area which is long is called as the shaft or the body of the bone. Long bone. So this is the shaft or the body of the long bone, which is narrow. For example, if you trace this is the narrowest part, so it becomes narrow structure. Now if you will see the upper end of the bones, you will see that this upper end in a living condition, not here, not here in the dry bone. In a living condition, the upper ends, they are covered by a layer of the cartilage, which is classified as the hyaline cartilage, and since it is present in the joint, it is called as the articular cartilage. This is called. Articulation is joint, articular cartilage. So this is called as articular cartilage at both the ends. So this is the articular cartilage of the lower end. This is so they are just covering to the ends, which will come in contact with the other bone with the for the various purposes. They are covered by the articular cartilage, which I will tell you when I will teach you a general aspect of the joint. General aspect. So ends are covered by the articular cartilage. Now if you will see the bone at the upper end or the lower end here, you will see, if I can show you, there will be many minute spits or depressions are seen. These are the opening for the blood vessels at both the ends. See here, if you can see it here, at the upper end as well lower end, at the ends which are broad, there are many of the foraminas are seen, and through this foramina passes the artery and the nerves, into the bone. But then beside this, the foraminas at the ends, there will be a large foramina which will be seen in the shaft of the body. And this foramina in the shaft of the body is called as the nutrient foramina. Nutrients means one which will supply the nutrition. nutrient foramina. So the foramina which is in the shaft of the bone, which may be 1, 2 or 3 sometime. Okay, usually it is 1 and directed to one side only. Okay, this is called as through which a large vessel, the nutrient artery will go along with the nerve and will supply the bone. Okay. Now, if we take a longitudinal section of this bone, okay, before that, the rest of the part of the cartilage is, except this cartilage, excuse me, except the part of the one which is covered at the end of the with the hyaline cartilage, what you will see that the outer surface of a living long bone, not in the dry bone, it is covered by a membranous structure which is membrane, and this surrounds all around except the ends which are covered by the hyaline cartilage, and this membrane is called as periosteum. Periosteum, that means a membrane covering around the bone, that is the periosteum in a living condition. Okay, living condition, there will be the passage of the blood vessels, the nerve through the nutrient foramina, this will coincide. Okay, and there will be the minute foraminas which are present at lower end for the blood vessels and the nerve. This indicates that the long bone is a living structure. Okay, it is not a dead structure. Now suppose if we cut a longitudinal section of a living long bone, then we will see that this internal structure of the living long bone is not seen as similar as what we see it from the outside. Now suppose it is tibia, I am cutting a longitudinal section, and in this longitudinal section you will see that this is the shaft. You will see the presence of the thick compact bone. I am just drawing in half of the diagram, and let me draw into the complete structure. These are the thick bone, dense bone, which are called as the compact bone. Okay, so this bone is the dense or compact bone. But at the ends, you will not see the compact bone except a layer of the compact bone surrounding to the ends. Okay, here will be a layer here due to the articular cartilage, and then the rest of the area will be occupied by the another kind of the bone which is called as spongy bone, sponge-like. Okay, that's why this is called at the ends, both the ends, they are knobby, large, enlarged because they contain the spongy bone. So these are the spongy bone, and then this spongy bone continues with that of the compact bone. Okay, the compact bone. That means at the ends of the long bone, inside you will get the spongy bone, while in the shaft you will get the thick bone, which do not show any of the space with the naked eye. Okay, with the naked eye, it is compact, densely packed. Okay, bone is here, and then there is a cavity, a long cavity is there. Now suppose if you cut a transverse section of this, then you will see that it looks something like this. Okay, the cavity which is surrounded by the compact bone. I will very roughly I am drawing here. This will be the transverse section, and this whole thing is the compact bone at this level, and then here it is surrounded by the periosteum membrane, and then inside is the cavity, and this cavity is called as the marrow cavity. Okay, in longitudinal as well as in transverse section. This is called as marrow cavity. And this marrow cavity which is present in the shaft, which is cylindrical long cavity, it is filled with the, I mean to say, a yellowish fatty structure which is called as bone marrow. So it is filled with the yellow bone marrow. Yellow bone marrow. And the cavity is called as the marrow cavity. That's why the cavity is called as the marrow cavity is there. At the ends where the spongy bone is present, which is surrounded by the very thin layer of the compact bone, this is also, these spaces are wide spaces, sponge-like spaces which are formed by the articulation or network of the rods and plates which are, and in this space also the marrow is, bone marrow is filled, and this is called as the red bone marrow or red marrow. And this red marrow throughout the life will keep on producing the RBCs or the bone cells, okay, not only RBC, the bone cell. So there is a yellow marrow in the marrow cavity, cylindrical in shape, and in the spongy bone there is a red marrow which is filling it. So basically in the longitudinal section we saw that the bone is of two different types, okay, a spongy bone at the ends and the compact bone at the sac, in the sac, surrounded by the periosteum. There is a yellow bone marrow and then there is a red bone marrow. Ends are covered by the cartilage called as the hyaline cartilage. I will stop here. In the next video, I will tell you in a great detail about this structure. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video.